Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal Part 321 based on novel. So let's start. Lu Yunsong took a deep breath and nodded at Lu Yanfei before heading toward the grandstand without a word. Lu Yanfei pondered as she flew like a butterfly toward the stand. Of the two, the male was graceful and magnificent. The female was weak, but determined and beautiful. At this moment, when they moved together, it had a certain visual power. Even Mu Bingmai couldn't help but sigh. Whether it was Lu Yunsong's cultivation or words, he could be considered an elite in the Cloud Sea. Beside her, Wang Shanshan's beautiful eyes scanned Lu Yunsong. Lu Yunsong quickly arrived on the stand. After pausing for a moment, he said, "Disciple Lu Yunsong greets sect master and elders." As he spoke, his gaze swept over and saw Mu Bingmai next to Wang Shanshan. He fell into a trance for a moment, as if everyone else had disappearing, leaving behind only this cold but gorgeous woman. Lu Yuanfei was beside Lu Yunsong as she bowed respectfully and softly said, "Disciple Lu Yanfei greets sect master and elders." Most of the people on the stands didn't look at Lu Yanfei, but at Lu Yunsong with looks of admiration. The middle-aged man named Ju looked at Lu Yunsong with kindness in his eyes. "Lu Yunsong, is the person you spoke of origin sects Lu Zihao?" The old man in white's voice was calm and gave off an invisible pressure. His peak nirvana Shatara cultivation spread out, but from the looks of it, it was very casual and wasn't his real cultivation level. Lu Yunsong pondered a bit and then slowly said, "Disciple doesn't know this person's name, but my guess is he should be Lu Zihao." The old man in white calmly looked at Lu Yunsong and asked, "What is this person's cultivation level?" "Early stage nirvana cleanser." But Lu Yunsong high-stated a bit before saying, "Disciple only felt as if his cultivation was at the early stage of nirvana cleanser but couldn't see through him, as if he was hiding his real cultivation level." After he spoke, the people of the everlasting sect looked at each other. The old man in white pondered a bit and said, "How did you meet this person? Tell us in detail." Lu Yunsong nodded as his eyes filled with reminiscence and he said, "He killed that damn son of mine." Just as he began to speak, not only were the people on the grandstand startled, everyone who was listening was also startled for a moment. That damn son of mine was a villain, so it was fine that he died. However, as a father, I still had to see the person who killed him, so I went to the origin sect. On the way, I met fellow cultivator Li, and we went together. Lu Yunsong began to recall everything that happened when he met Wang Lin. He also included Li Qianmei's 3 questions and how Wang Lin had answered them. The answer of how heaven was like a circle moved everyone. The elders of the everlasting sect were all shocked. The old man in white carefully pondered for a while before his eyes shined brightly. "What a good idea about seeing heaven as a circle. What you are seeking is still in this world, while what he seeks is already beyond the heavens and earth. This man's understanding of Tao has far surpassed yours." Wang Shanshan's beautiful eyes moved as she listened to Lu Yunsong and softly said, "I didn't expect our Cloud Sea to have such a talent, but I have never heard of him before. After I had discussed Tao with Brother Lu, my comprehension deepened a lot, and I admire him greatly. I came here in hopes of meeting him again, but unfortunately," Lu Yunsong let out a sigh. When everyone heard this, they understood why Li Qianmei had come and helped the origin sect. "I didn't expect such a person to appear within the origin sect." Feng Hai felt melancholy as he looked at the silent Lu Yanfei. "Lu Yanfei, is this person really your origin sect's ancestor?" The person who asked was the white-robed old man who was the sect master of the everlasting sect. This was the first time Lu Yanfei was questioned, but she didn't hesitate and softly said, "Yes, Uncle Teacher wandered the world and came back to save the origin sect." He settled down. But after meeting fellow cultivator Lu, he set off once more. His whereabouts are unknown. Such a cultivator must wander the world to comprehend Tao. His personality must make him want to avoid common matters, and only by doing so could he have such comprehension in Tao. The person who spoke was the middle-aged man named Ju. He felt rather regrettable. "Will your uncle teacher come here?" the old man in white asked. After he heard what Lu Yunsong said, he became even more interested. Even though this person belonged to the origin sect was a branch of the everlasting sect. In the end, this person was still a disciple of the everlasting sect. When Uncle Teacher left, he said he would come. Although Lu Yanfei's voice was soft, her words were filled with determination. Good, then let's wait for him. This old man wants to see what kind of person this Lu Zihao is. You return, and the competition between your origin sect and Purple Dao sect will be held off. Elder Feng, tell the rank 6 sects to start. The old man in white smiled. He was very happy. The competition of the rank 6 sects officially began, and thunderous rumbles echoed. However, they couldn't attract too much attention, as everyone's attention was still on the grandstands of the everlasting sect. Fellow cultivator Mu, you also heard all of this. How does this Lu Zihao compare to that person you spoke of? The middle-aged man named Ju looked over and smiled. While Mu Bingmai was listening to Lu Yuntsong's words, she was silently pondering. She had a very strange feeling. It seemed like the Lu Zihao Lu Yuntsong had spoken of was very familiar. At this moment, she didn't respond to the middle-aged man's words, but looked toward Lu Yuntsong and said indifferently, "Can you tell me what this Lu Zihao looks like?" Lu Yuntsong looked at Mu Bingmai, his heart pounding. The moment he heard her words, he unabashedly revealed admiration in his eyes and nodded. This person has white hair and likes to wear white. After saying those words, Lu Yuntsong revealed a smile as he waved his hand and a crack to his storage space opened. A jade flew into his hand and he quickly imprinted Wang Lin's image. Then he injected origin energy into it and the jade exploded. As the pieces scattered, a figure appeared from within. This figure wore white and had hair white like snow. His indifferent expression revealed a hint of loneliness, but there was an unspeakable temperament that surrounded him. The moment this image appeared, the elders of the everlasting sect stared at the image. 2 of them stood up, looked at the image, and exclaimed, "It's him." Mu Bingmei's body trembled as she looked at the figure, and she immediately became excited. But she quickly suppressed it, then it was replaced by an inexplicable sadness. Just like how a lonely person met a loved one in a foreign land. She bit her lower lip and was stunned. Lu Yanfei was also filled with confusion as she looked at the figure. She felt bitterness in her heart. Lu Yuntsong was startled. Before he could speak, a ray of light suddenly flew over from the northern platform. This ray of light caused a thunderous rumble and carried with it 100 years of killing intent. It was earth-shattering as it swept across the sky, and Li Qianmai appeared before the grandstand where the everlasting sect elders were sitting. Her gaze locked onto the 2 everlasting sect elders who had stood up. "The 2 of you have seen him?" Li Qianmei's voice was calm, but there was a bit of trembling in her voice that she didn't even notice. Looking at the figure before her, there was an obsession in her heart. For this obsession, she didn't hesitate risking the punishment of the demon sect to come here to the everlasting sect just to see that figure again. 100 years wasn't long, but also not short. Even Li Qianmai didn't know what that inexplicable feeling was. Only that during the 100 years of fighting, every time she left the battlefield tired and injured, his figure would appear. Li Qianmei's appearance caused Wang Shanshan to stand up. She was about to speak when she noticed that Li Qianmei's state wasn't right, and a thought appeared in her mind. This was the first time Mu Bingmai had laid eyes on Li Qianmei. Li Qianmei's beauty and calmness caused a hint of bitterness to arise in her heart. She bit her lower lip and remained silent. The sect master of the everlasting sect frowned and looked at the 2 elders that had stood up. One of the elders was still shocked. He took a deep breath and said, "I didn't know he was Lu Zihao." Although, what Lu Yuntsong said was still somewhat wrong. How can this person be a Nirvana cleanser cultivator? I took my disciples to the Chaos Beast Fog Realm to train and saw this person easily killing rank 11 fire centipedes and also seriously injuring a rank 12 beast. If not for the fact that he was injured, I'm afraid not even I would be a match for him. After he spoke, all the elders of the everlasting sect were shocked. If someone else said it, they might not have believed it, but Elder Wu Tian, who was always calm and steady, had much more credibility. So Elder Wu has seen this person. This old man hasn't seen his face, but I have seen his figure. Earlier, This old man received reports from the rank 6 and rank 7 region. Someone charged from the rank 5 region through the rank 6 region. His speed was shocking and was at the level of a peak Nirvana Shatterer or First Heaven's Blight Cultivator. He passed by countless continents, but no one dared to stop him at all. He charged through the rank 6 region and broke the formation into the rank 7 region. One of the branch sects had 3 Nirvana Shatterer cultivators who tried to stop him. This person used the War Spirit print. The War Spirit print destroyed several wild continents, and many were forced to move their continents so he could pass. He charged all the way into the rank 8 region. After he spoke, everyone was even more shocked. Hearing all of this, Mu Bingmei's eyes lit up and she couldn't help but smile wryly in her heart. No matter where he went, he would always do some shocking things. Li Qianmai also listened to this carefully. She bit her lower lip, but her eyes were bright. She smiled and looked at the sky. She felt very happy. Lu Yanfei's mind went blank, and after a long time, the joy in her heart suppressed the shock. She understood that Wang Lin hadn't forgotten his promise from 100 years ago. He had charged his way through the rank 6, 7, and 8 regions to come here. Even Wang Shanshan revealed a strange gaze as various scenes she thought up appeared in her mind. A person in white rushing through space. She was just very confused about why he would know the War Spirit print. Lu Yunzong revealed a wry smile. He didn't think that Brother Lu would have set off such a big wave before even arriving. This had nothing to do with him, it was due to what the 2 elders of the Everlasting Sect had said. The entire grandstand was silent, and the old man in white let out a deep breath. He had to believe it. At this moment, he no longer looked at this mysterious person like a junior, but someone of the same generation. Lu Yanfei, you don't need to go back. Wait here. I presume that by the time the rank 6 sect competition is over, your uncle teacher will be here. The Everlasting Sect's sect master let out a dry cough. He looked at Lu Yanfei with a look of admiration toward a junior. Li Qianmai didn't leave, but sat down due to Wang Shanshan's invitation. The moment she sat down, Mu Bingmei's lightning-like gaze swept over. The 2 women met for a moment with Wang Shanshan in between. Wang Shanshan was in the middle and introduced them when she suddenly shivered. She leaned slightly backward so there was now no obstacle between their gazes. Mu Bingmei looked at Li Qianmai for a long time before she withdrew her gaze and said in a soft but cold voice, "Lady Li is indeed a genius, your cultivation is extraordinary." Li Qianmai was a bit confused as to why this strange, beautiful woman was looking at her. When she with her gaze, Li Qianmai softly said, "In terms of beauty, I really can't match fellow cultivator Mu." The people of the Everlasting Sect became even more excited for the competition. However, what they were waiting from was the person the 2 elders had talked about. The competition between the 2 rank 6 sects was no longer interesting, but one person stood up just like Lu Yunzong in the past. This person was Yuan Fei, the head disciple of the Giant Spirit sect. He was always in closed-door cultivation and had left the sect many years ago, returning only 200 years ago. He had missed 2 competitions as a result. He was middle-aged and was at the early stage of Nirvana Shatterer. He was extremely vicious. People that fought with him would often be seriously injured. This person was number 1 among the juniors of his rank 6 sect. If not for the fact that he was always away, the Celestial Music sect wouldn't have gotten its top spot and Lu Yingjie wouldn't have become famous. He represented the juniors of his sect. Even Lu Yingjie was weary and silently sneered, but he didn't appear. This allowed Yuan Fei's fame to soar. At this moment, he stood on the platform and looked at the grandstand. His gaze fell on Mu Bingmei and company. He didn't hide the desire in his eyes at all. "I wonder how I compare to the cultivator that fellow cultivator Li spoke of." His voice echoed like thunder. Li Qianmei's expression was calm as she looked at Yuan Fei on the arena and only said one word. "Inferior." Yuan Fei silently pondered for a bit before smiling as if he didn't care. His gaze landed on Lu Yunzong and he coldly said, "Lu Yunzong, I wasn't here for the last competition. Do you still want to challenge me?" Lu Yunzong's eyes revealed a cold gaze, and after a long time he said, "If Brother Lu of the Origin sect doesn't come, I shall fight you." Time slowly passed. The rank 6 sect's competition was nearing its end, but the Lu Zihao everyone was waiting for still hadn't come. The rank 7 sect's competition was about to begin. In the past, the rank 4, 5, and 6 competitions were only the preview, while the rank 7 sect's competition was the main event. However, right now the rank 5 sect's competition wasn't over yet. If it continued like this, it would be a bit inappropriate. There were still many people watching, including many people from outside the sect, which made it even more inappropriate for the rank 5 sect's matter to be dragged out. Feng Hai hesitated and looked at the sect master. The old man pondered a bit and then looked at Lu Yanfei and Lu Yunzong. As the sect master, he had to consider all sides. The competition was a great event, and it would be inappropriate for the rank 5 sect's competition to keep dragging on. We waited. If Lu Zihao comes late, he can't say anything. The old man's eyes lit up and he said, Lu Yunzong, Lu Yanfei, the two of you, enter the arena and finish the rank 5 sect's competition. The moment he spoke, he caught the attention of all the surrounding cultivators. Lu Yunzong pondered for a moment before looking at the old man. He clasped his hands at Lu Yanfei and flew toward the arena. Lu Yanfei bit her lower lip. She knew that Wang Lin was most likely on the way, but right now she had to fight. Letting out a sigh, Lu Yanfei flew like a butterfly toward the arena. She landed on the arena, and her gaze became even more determined. Even if he doesn't come, I must continue on with this battle. This was a private matter of the everlasting sect, so Li Qianmai didn't have a reason to interfere. She silently watched Lu Yanfei's figure. However, if the Origin sect was to be disbanded, she made up her mind to take everyone in the Origin sect back to the Heaven-breaking sect. The moment Lu Yunzong and Lu Yanfei arrived on the arena, everyone became quiet and looked over. Due to one person from the Origin sect, they had caught everyone's attention. For the first time, such a small sect was remembered by the countless cultivators here. All of this was because of the person who hadn't arrived yet. Not everyone's gazes contained good intent. Like Lu Yingjie from the Celestial Music sect. He stared at Lu Yunzong and Lu Yanfei with a venomous gaze. That ridiculous person, weren't you all certain he could come? I want to see if that person is as truly as amazing as you all say. Lu Yingjie clenched his fist. Even further away, in the place where the mountain-seeking sect was, it was covered in a gloomy atmosphere. Zhao Long had lost his body and only had his origin soul. He floated next to the sect master and head elder, but his venomous gaze was far stronger than Lu Yingjie's. Brother Zhao can rest assured, I'll not let this matter go. If he doesn't come, he is lucky, but if he does, I'll kill him on the spot. Even if Li Qianmai tries to stop me, she is only herself. She doesn't represent the heaven-breaking sect. We won't offend her, but that mysterious person named Lu must die. What happened on the grandstand was too far away, so no one aside from the people of the everlasting sect knew. They had only seen a vague image but didn't get a clear look. There was also Yuan Fei from the rank 6 sect. He stared at the two people in the arena and sneered. He hoped that the mysterious person would come. He wanted to see for himself what was so special about that person. Lu Yanfei stood there calmly as a lonely feeling appeared in her heart. She didn't care about the countless gazes on her, but the person she had waited 100 years for still hadn't appeared. She raised her head and looked at the sky. There were tears in her eyes, but they didn't fall. She turned toward Lu Yunzong and softly said, "Fellow cultivator Lu, please advise me." Lu Yunzong also withdrew his gaze from the sky as if he was waiting. He looked at Lu Yanfei and said, "I won't hold back in this battle. You should be careful." Lu Yanfei let out a tragic smile but gave a determined gaze, which made her strangely beautiful. She gently nodded and took a few steps back. Her hands formed a seal and her origin energy began to move. This origin energy formed a vortex in the air and caused a thunderous rumble. However, at this moment, this vortex became crazy, as if a strange force had appeared from the void and stirred up the vortex. At this moment, the sky changed colors. For some reason, the vortex continued to grow. It broke out from Lu Yanfei's control and flew into the sky. Lu Yanfei was completely startled, but her body immediately began to tremble and she looked up. Not only her, at this moment, Lu Yunsong also felt his body shake and his origin soul tremble. It was as if an indescribable pressure was coming from the distance. This pressure was earth-shattering, and once it shrouded the area, it made it impossible for him to resist. He was familiar with this aura, very familiar. He suddenly raised his head and stared into the sky. At this moment, aside from those two people, the nearly 100,000 cultivators felt this pressure. The thunder in the sky rumbled endlessly. This earth-shattering sound set off an echo that replaced everything. Silver snakes covered the sky. There were simply too many of them. It was as if all the thunder had gathered at this place and replaced the sky. The thunder rumbled as the wind blew and the sky changed colors. The thunder formed a net in the sky and then descended. A white figure slowly appeared in the endless, rumbling thunder. His white hair flowed in the rumbling thunder and made the entire world into a thunder hell. The thunder suddenly let out a roar that seemed to come from ancient times. This roar could shock the minds of cultivators and make them terrified. The thunder and clouds surged to welcome only one person. He came. He came. Lu Yunsong stared at the sky, at the endless thunder, and at the white figure behind the endless thunder. His mind trembled. Li Qianmai suddenly stood up and stared at the sky. She immediately saw the figure behind the thunder and stared at the figure that separated from her 100 years ago. Now she looked at the same figure 100 years later walking on thunder. She bit her lower lip and became even more calm, as if it should always have been like this. He had walked on heavenly thunder right into her heart. Mu Bingmei's expression was complicated, with a hint of an inexplicable mood as she silently looked at the familiar figure in the thunder. A lot of memories flashed before her eyes. Unexplainable bitterness, unspeakable sorrow, but there was also a hint of warmth. For a moment, she lowered her head. The flow of tears in Lu Yanfei's eyes became even stronger and two streams of tears flowed out as the figure closed in. All of her grievances surged out as her tears. Wang Lin had crossed the cloud sea and arrived wearing thunder. At this moment, not only the people familiar with Wang Lin were like this. All the surrounding cultivators, including the people of the everlasting sect, were shocked. Feng Hai suddenly stood up and his pupils shrank as he stared at the white figure in the air. He could clearly feel that the origin energy in the air was not something an ordinary Nirvana Shatterer cultivator could have. This kind of origin energy could only be obtained after one had deep understanding in their own lore, something only peak Nirvana Shatterer cultivators could have. Not only him, but the old man with red hair also took a deep breath and his mind shook. His lore and domain were also related to thunder. At this moment, he could clearly feel himself losing control of his origin soul. His origin soul that had half turned into thunder felt the need to worship. It was as if he wasn't looking at a cultivator, but at heavenly thunder that had existed since the beginning of time. The middle-aged man named Ju stared at Wang Lin inside the thunder, and his eyes were like lightning. His mind trembled and he was terrified. What terrified him was that he hadn't noticed Wang Lin arriving at all. It wasn't until the thunder echoed across the sky that he noticed this person arrive. This kind of spell that could hide one's aura shocked the middle-aged man named Ju. He wasn't thinking about spells, but the fact that this person's cultivation level was just far above his own. The old man that took his disciples to the Chaos Beast Fog Realm was the most calm right now as he was the only person that had seen Wang Lin before. He let out a sigh. When I met Brother Lu back then, I didn't think we were in the same sect. My name is Mu Zhongping. Greetings, fellow cultivator. The old man who saw Wang Lin's figure had a serious expression. Before, he didn't believe what he had heard, but now he was convinced. This person had the power to sweep through the rank 6 and 7 regions. The sect master of the everlasting sect's eyes lit up. He was the person with the highest cultivation level here. Although he wasn't the strongest in the everlasting sect, he was at the first heaven's blight. It was because he had reached this rare state that he could see something no one else could see. He stared at the spot between Wang Lin's eyebrows, and although there was nothing there, he could clearly feel the power of law there. What terrified him was that this law didn't seem to belong to the heavens. It seemed to exist out of the heavens' control, a new law. Under this law, even he felt a sense of awe, especially when he felt the domain of the person before him. This domain seemed to be very ethereal, and he found it difficult to see what it was in a short period of time. This was what terrified him the most. He wasn't confident in winning a life-and-death battle against this kind of cultivator. This person is indeed injured, but his injuries don't seem too serious. It seems he had his own concerns for coming late. Lu Yingjie stared dumbfoundedly at the white figure inside the thunder. A terrifying feeling suddenly appeared inside him and completely submerged him. His body trembled. This was due to terror and fear, especially when he thought about how he had offended the Origin sect, teased Lu Yanfei, and said that he was going to battle this person. His scalp went numb and his vision blurred. Even his fellow Celestial Music sect members were all terrified. He unexpectedly is so powerful. When Lu Yunzong said he could kill me like an ant, he was telling the truth. Lu Yingjie was a mess, his face pale and his mind were a mess. Not only him, the mountain-seeking sect also quieted down. Zhao Long stared at the figure in the sky, and his expression changed drastically. His pupils shrank, and at this moment, his mind was blank. The sect master and head elder of the mountain-seeking sect were completely pale. The moment they saw Wang Lin, they immediately recognized him as the person that had forced them to move their continent and respectfully send him off. It's him. The two of them looked at each other and saw the terror in each other's eyes. The surrounding almost 100,000 cultivators were all people from the rank 6 and 7 regions. They had all heard a little about the heaven-shattering scene that occurred in the rank 6 and 7 region. Even if they hadn't seen it themselves, they knew it well from the people around them. There were also some old monsters that had personally seen Wang Lin's figure. Now that they got a closer look, an uproar spread everywhere. It's him. He charged through the rank 6 region. No one dared to even attempt to stop him. I heard from the ancestor of my sect that this person used one spell to break the barrier to the rank 7 region. Even ancestor was shocked by this. This old man personally saw this person use the war spirit print, forcing many sects to move their continents to make way for him. Rumor has it that 3 Nirvana Shatterer cultivators tried to stop him, but they were all forced to retreat with serious injuries. It wasn't 3. My senior brother saw 7 Nirvana Shatterer cultivators attack at the same time. But this person used one spell to kill 4 and injured 3. Even a wild continent collapsed under his spell. An uproar started, but a thunderous rumble across the sky suddenly caused everyone to quiet down. The rumbling thunder in the sky all gathered inside Wang Lin's body until not a trace of it remained. A person wearing white with white hair flowing in the air descended from the sky. He landed next to Lu Yanfei on the arena. Wang Lin looked at the fragile Lu Yanfei with an apologetic look and softly said, "I'm late." Lu Yanfei could no longer hold the tears in her eyes as she looked at Wang Lin and shook her head. She revealed a happy smile and softly said, "You're not late. As long as you can come, it's never late. You go back. With me here, no one can move the Origin sect. In this competition, whether it is the rank 5, 6, or 7 sects, I'll make the Origin sect number 1. Wang Lin waved his sleeves and a gentle wind flew Lu Yanfei back toward where the Origin sect members were. Wang Lin looked over at the everlasting sect and clasped his hands at the old man who spoke. However, he was startled when he saw Li Chenmai An. Mu Bingmai. He withdrew his gaze after a moment of shock and looked at Lu Yunzong, who had a complicated expression and a bitter smile. Brother Lu's cultivation is very different from 100 years ago. My Purple Dao sect lost this rank 5 sect competition. Lu Yunzong clasped his hands with a bitter smile. If Wang Lin's cultivation was only a bit stronger than his, he'd have the heart to battle. However, his mind was already a mess just from standing here, and what was even more terrifying was that he felt like his Dao heart was going to collapse. It was as if the person before him was a vortex that was sucking in all Dao intent. If he was just a bit unfocused, he felt like all his Dao would be sucked away. Wang Lin faintly smiled, but his expression became cold and he softly said, "Brother Lu, I have one thing I'd like to ask. Lu Yanfei is injured. Who did it?" Lu Yunzong didn't hesitate to point at the Celestial Music sect and say, "The Celestial Music sect's Lu Yingjie." Then he pointed toward the Mountain Seeking sect. The Mountain Seeking sect's Zhao Long. They had lustful thoughts about Lady Lu. Wang Lin nodded and looked toward the celestial music sect. There was a flash of coldness as he stepped into the air and charged toward the celestial music sect. In the celestial music sect's area, Lu Yingjie's expression changed greatly and he retreated. His teacher and the elders of the sect all had serious expressions. His teacher grabbed him and they unexpectedly charged toward the area where the everlasting sect was. The celestial music sect's sect master stepped forth and blocked Wang Lin. He had a respectful expression on his face and was about to explain. However, Wang Lin wasn't even going to listen. Seeing the person blocking his path, he waved his hand and a gust of wind roared. The wind contained thunder, and it collided with the celestial music sect's sect master. There was an earth-shaking rumble that shocked the world as the celestial music sect's sect master coughed out blood and his body collapsed. His origin soul flew out, and his eyes were filled with terror. Wang Lin didn't even pause. He walked toward the old man pulling Lu Yingjie. He wasn't fast, but every step would made the origin soul of those walking tremble. All the cultivators on the surrounding platforms became silent. Main sect, help. Lu Yingjie's teacher's forehead was covered in sweat and his eyes were filled with terror as he screamed at the people of the everlasting sect. Feng Hai hesitated for a bit and clasped his hands to speak. Fellow cultivator Lu, please. However, Wang Lin waved his hand and interrupted him. He humiliated my origin sect, so he must die. Anyone that tries to save him will suffer the same fate. Wang Lin slowly said and then raised his right hand. He had come to the everlasting sect to become a deterrent for the origin sect and push them up. At this moment, with one finger, the world trembled and the heavenly fate finger appeared. Ripples echoed across the sky as a giant finger appeared and gave off a monstrous pressure. Everyone gasped as they stared in a daze at the giant finger that occupied the world. The finger howled as it descended, instantly landing on Lu Yingjie and his teacher with a bang. The earth trembled and it felt like even the cultivation planet shook. Blood splattered everywhere. Lu Yingjie and his teacher's bodies shattered and their origin souls collapsed. Wind blew by and spread the smell of blood. Kill Lu Yingjie as easy as crushing an ant. The words that Lu Yunzong said a few days ago were like the cold winter's wind. Wang Lin turned around and looked toward where the mountain-seeking sect was. He took a step toward them. This video will end here.